One thing with this mix that I have noticed when doing the guitars is that there's a couple of timing errors. Now, really, this is the sort of thing you want to fix before you start applying all of your plugins and doing the mix and balance and everything. It's better to get your editing done at the start. Definitely recommend that with drums, but this has only sort of become clear really once you hear the guitars a bit more clarity, and you can kind of pick out the timing errors. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if we can fix those and give you a few ideas you can try to do the same with yours. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to hit play, and you can see what I mean about the timing. So for the most part, it's okay. It's just that last little section goes a little bit too off grid for my liking anyway. So what I'm going to do, most of the song is based on one of two loops. We've got this kind of minor chord sequence, and then there's a more major chord sequence later on. As it is all the same, well, all the way through, what we can do is just use one of these loops, fix the timing on it, and then copy and paste it throughout the song where it occurs. Rather than going through the whole thing, correcting every single transient, which should be a bit of a time-consuming nightmare, I'm just going to do it loop by loop, and we're going to use flex time in Logic to do this. So if I just chop out that very first loop, so the first thing I'm going to make sure I do is turn my groups on. Now we're not using this back mic. In the last video we decided that we didn't like the sound of it, so for the sake of making stuff easier, we could either hide it, right click, hide track, or get rid of it, but make sure you've saved this as a new version first. You can always go back to this. For sake of space, I'm just going to bin that one off now, and then on my groups I'm going to make sure guitars is active and that groups as a whole are active and that editing is on. This means anything I do to the group, we'll do it to every track in the group rather than just the one. So when we move stuff around, or in this case do the timing adjustments, we don't have to do it for every individual track, which could get some kind of sync issues. Instead, we're just going to do it to this DI track, and it will copy that onto the front and our ribbon mics. So groups are on, I've got my DI selected, and to get this in time, now the track is vaguely to a click, but 112 BPM, but I am going to move my kick drum down to use that as more of a visual reference. So I want my guitars really to line up with the kick. And let's just have a listen to this first section. So I'm actually going to use the second loop, because to my ear it sounds a little bit stronger. There's a bit of a sort of hesitancy in that first one. So I'm going to start here. I'm just going to chop it a bar before, so we can get the timing straight on that. And I'm just going to delete what we had beforehand. Zoom right in so we can see the transients. So that's kind of our first beat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this all the way to the start of the track. And I'm just going to line it up where the track comes in, which in this case is the start of bar 2. Okay, so next up is the actual flex time. So at the top, you've got this little X timer looking control, and this turns on flex. Next to the automation, it's a similar thing that brings up a different view I'm going to click that. You see every channel now says this little egg timer on it, and this is monophonic. If I click that, we can select different modes. Now, for the guitars, I'd recommend you use polyphonic, simply because it's quite a complicated sound. There's a lot of textures in it. Monophonics, more useful for like simple sounds like just a kick drum. But even then, if you've got the CPU power, I'd always recommend using polyphonic, as it's the best quality of them. And that will analyze the tracks. It can take a little time. Okay. So it's got these little transient markers there, and any of these now where the notes are, I can click and I can move them around, I can stretch a bit out, and it will adjust the timing. If there's no transient markers in, or if you haven't affected the audio, if you click in the top half, it makes a single point to drag. If you click down on the bottom half, you get 3 points. This is useful if you want to keep the timing either side, but just move one in the middle. And you can double click on them, and it returns to default and get rid of them. So I'm going to go for this, and I'm going to line up some of these main hits. Just going to pull that back a smidge. So this is my start. I'm going to put that bang on 2, line up with the kick drum. Let's hear that. Can move that one slightly. Same at the start of this. It's a bit early, let's make it a bit later. I can line these up with the grids, or ideally with the kick drum, but it's sort of somewhere in between here. This is the real problem area, so I'm going to line up each of these main hits. Okay. Let's hit the first beat of the next bar and just move that one out of the way. Okay, let's hear how that's sounding now. The danger with flex time is once you start, it's really hard to stop. So you end up fixing everything, which not only time consuming, but it can kind of kill the human, the feel of a track. But some things need to be fixed. There we go. And I'm going to get rid of this next section. So we now have a hopefully perfectly in time loop. Just play it with the drums. Cool, that'll do. So this, I can turn flex view on and off just by using this. The processing is still happening, I'm just not seeing it. What I can do then is, this is my first loop all ready to roll. I can move on to the next bit. So what I've got now, I've got all of my tracks bounced out, and I've deleted any of the stuff we don't need. But save this as a new version, so you can always go back to what you had before. What I do need to do is put my newly bounced tracks into the groups. So that's these 3 here. Group, guitars, guitars, and guitars. So now I can just go through the track and place these wherever they need to be. I'm going to listen to the bass for my sort of cue for this. Move this another way. That's loop 2 there. Paste this in to make sure it's bang on the beat. And there's our ending. Okay, so I've pasted everything in place. The last thing we need to do is just join everything together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put little fades on all of our tracks and then select them all, Control, click, join. Make sure groups is not active for this because you don't want to mix them all down to one. So let's put a little fade in, a little fade out. Just 1 or 2 is fine. Stops any clicks. And then Control click, join. And there we go, we've now got all of our guitars in place, all the loops put in, everything correct timing wise, and we're ready to resume the mix.